Welcome back, YouTube. Another day, another fabrication project. 1972 Ford Courier that we've swapped in a '02 Miata motor, transmission, suspension, all the fun bits. We've been working on this thing for a few weeks now. Seems like forever. Try to get all this fabrication and sheet metal work done. Let's give you a quick little glimpse of what we did last video. Last week's projects were modifying, fabricating, mounting all of the pedals, the steering column, getting all that to work, along with the steering rod. We made an e-brake mount. We made a shifter that's not there, and finished up all these floors. Don't mind this rust. We're gonna wire brush that off and get it all clean again. You'll notice, as nice as these floors look, there's something missing here. Yep, no rocker panels. We have a little bit of inner rocker that I made when I was doing the floor. Didn't make the center section yet. A little bit hanging on there. Bottom of the fenders. Yeah, they roached. And of course, just like every other piece of metal I've needed, or actually every part that I've needed so far on this project, they don't make them. There's no rocker panels available, at least that I found, as well as there was no floor pans, subfloor, etc. Made all that. We're gonna make these too. Actually, snuck ahead. Check this out. Went ahead and experimented with the driver's side. Got it about 80% ground out, looking good. Door shuts nice gap. Ran out of hardware for the fender section, so a little vice grip holding that up, but you get the point. There's a bunch of different ways we could have tackled this fabrication project. If we had a slip roll, could have made that outside curve. If we had a sheet metal brake, we could have made the step-up section. We don't have those. What do? Well, we find something else that we can make work. In this case, I happen to have a pair of 67 to 72 C10 rockers laying around. They actually kind of sort of look right. No one's really gonna know or probably care if these are the same contour. These I had laying around. Actually, I ended up having to buy another pair. Believe it or not, these rockers are longer than a 67 to 72 C10. Oddly enough, I thought being a mini truck they'd be super short, but they're actually like an inch and a half. I think it's an inch and a half longer. So I had to buy another pair to cut them. I'll walk you through it. Went ahead and did the driver's side. We'll do the passenger side together, kind of in steps. I'll do some work, catch you up, do some work, catch you up. You know the drill. First things first, here are the donor pieces from Auto Metal Direct, 67 to 72 outer rockers. You could probably make both of these rockers from one pair, but I ended up using two pair because I needed a little donor section to extend it, and it was going to make more sense just to buy another, to use that section to extend it, and also the extra rocker gives you the material to make the fender section. These rockers were around $30 a piece ish, so you end up with $120 in a pair of, or two pair of rockers as donors. That's really not bad. We're just going to cut these up, show you how we made them. First thing I'm going to do here with the rocker is just go ahead and slice it in half right here at this first of a roll in. Obviously, we know that the distance here is not going to be the same as here, and the step from here, it's just all different. Let's go ahead and get the outer part of the rocker on, get it where it's squared, and then we can figure out the inner piece. Oh, and I'm getting ahead of myself here. Went ahead and made us a new inner rocker as well. Plug welded that, seamed it at the ends. Now, take a little more of our Seymour stainless blast. We've already put some on here, but we'll touch up over these welds. Get this outer rocker tacked on. Let's move forward. With the outer shell tacked up here, who am I kidding? Fully welded, plug welded across the bottom. with that in place, you can kind of now get a better idea of what it is going to look like. Went ahead and extended the end of the rocker. Still got to finish grind that. You get the idea. Now, what are we doing here? What do we do about all this? Well, I took some sections from the donor rocker and made those fit, and that will fit in there, something like that. Now, take your time. I mean, you can see how good the fit up is here. Take your time on this fit up. It's going to save you so much time in welding. So that'll be in there like that. Obviously, I can't hold both of these pieces at the same time. And then this piece, drill some holes in that face. Got it fitting. Oh, hold on. Hand switch. Here we go. Got this piece fitting for here. Whoop. Okay. Let's see. Get up there. Alright, take 3. Get this sucker fitted up to there. So it'll butt weld on the ends, plug weld up to the pinch, and then it will seam weld to this other piece once it's welded in. If you're thinking, man, this is a lot of welding and a lot of grinding, well, you're correct. But I think this is going to be our best option. They don't make rockers for this. I have to put something there. There's no, I mean, these things are rare enough anyway. There's no parts or donor trucks. Just make it work. The first side, including the fender, I had about a day in it, figuring it out, figuring out which pieces to cut out of the other stuff. You know, about 7 hours messing with it. This side, if it wasn't for filming, I could have knocked this side out in probably 3 hours. Yeah, it's part of hot rodding, part of what you have to do. It's also part of buying really rusty stuff, because that's the only stuff I can afford. Whatever. Let's get to welding, let's get to grinding, let's make this thing whole again. After tons of welding and even more grinding, she's in. It's done. Check it out. Ooh, yes sir. Looking good, fitting good. All ground out. Seams turned out nice. Pretty. Very happy with it. Little patience, little effort. Yeah. You can make chicken salad out of anything. But still got one little problem left. This guy right here. That doesn't look cool. Is it structural? No. Is it functional? No. Is it ugly? Very much so. Got these pretty rockers on here now. This ugly thing, and just to note, little side note here, I mean, look, the shape was actually pretty dang close. Close enough. Gonna chop this off, take a section of rocker, put it in. I'll show you. We take our crusty, rusty mess, zip that off of there. We use our accurate measuring device. Not that much. We mark it on our donor rocker panel. We cut that out to exact size. We bob off the end here to give it a little shape, because I mean, I don't want the fender to be square at the end, so just trying to do. Whoop, get that there. Had to add a little tab at the top. Also, we had to extend our tab here just a little bit. And then we're going to weld this guy on here, something like that. And then down here at the bottom, well, as I was saying, down here at the bottom, I'm gonna drill 2 holes in this lip that will go into this, nuts, washers, bolts, good to go. More welding, more grinding, and there we have it. A new fender bottom. Go ahead and drilled our holes here. I'm out of 1032 hardware, so I'll get some of that tomorrow. Just got it held in place there with the little clamps, so you can check it out. Nice little shape to it. Ground out. Now, I positioned it right here. The reason I added this tab, I guess I didn't really elaborate to that earlier, is I wanted it where it rolled, and there's still a body line here, so I wanted it where it rolled and it matched with this, and then, you know, obviously keep this roll here, not, you know, just extend it straight up or something. So I added that tab, that metal section, to kind of fill in where the door gap would be. Turned out pretty cool. Yes, I know we still have rust here, and that's okay. Projects like this, you just have to find a point to stop. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. If we just keep going and I go up on the fender and fix that rust, and I fix a little rust here, next thing you know, we're painting the truck and it's going to be a whole blazer debacle all over again. We're not doing that. The rust that's right above that section, it's not structural. It's fine. It's totally fine. The truck isn't perfect. It's got rust in other places. Now we just have a fender bottom, so all that can be, I'm just going to paint all that section satin black like it was factory, and it'll look great. I think that's all the sheet metal work we have. Got some parts rolling in, excuse me, for intercooler piping, exhaust. You know, that's my favorite. I'm going to go over this thing one more time just to make sure, but I think we get to do plumbing fabrication next. Let's see. A few days off, but we're back here in the shop. For those that don't know, just every once in a while when I miss a week of videos, it's usually because I'm out traveling the country doing professional drifting. Now, not me myself. A good friend of mine, Ben Hobson, works for RTR, drives for RTR, and I work for them. I'm a spotter. We're out in Seattle last weekend. Did pretty well. The other driver, teammate James Dean, got second, leading the points. Pretty cool. Anyway, back to the Courier updates. We finally get to play with our new turbo. Start mapping out some of the piping to our intercooler. Some of you've probably seen this just hanging out in here, and it's literally just sitting in place, held in by some grill mounts that I bent out of the way, sitting on this little ledge here. Yeah, it's just a universal intercooler, nothing special, nothing fancy. Taped up all the fins to keep from boogering those up. Today, we got to figure out how to mount this. Luckily, it already has some mounting bosses on the top and on the bottom. I'm gonna build a little bracket to here, some little kind of bracket that I think may come and swoop up and around. I don't know. We got to figure this out. And common story for this build is we don't have enough space. Could have went with a smaller intercooler to make my life a little easier, fab-wise, but performance-wise, it's not going to work as well, and aesthetically. I wanted this intercooler as big as I could possibly fit in here so that it fills up the whole grill and just looks the coolest. Our solution, found some cast elbows. We're going to cut the end of the intercooler off and weld some cast elbows, because otherwise we would put a coupler, right? And by the time you put a coupler and an elbow, you're probably about that wide, which the inner structure starts here, so obviously that's not going to work. Cut this off, weld that directly to that, and now we can be within our inner fender range. This kind of gives you a better idea right here. You see the pipe through the hole? Come through something like that. Yeah, we're just going to kind of figure it out as we go. I am not an aluminum welder. I have welded aluminum before, and I actually was pretty decent at it. I don't know, 18 years ago when I went through motorsports vehicle technology, linear tech. Hopefully it's like riding a bike. Luckily, a friend of mine, Matt Mason, is going to come by. He's a great aluminum welder.
He's going to kind of give me a refresher course, probably help me on all the aesthetic welds, the pretty ones up top, and the important ones. Also, we have to do radiator stuff. That's also very important. His expertise will probably be used on that part. Anyway, first things first, we have to get everything situated where it's going to be. This is the throttle body we're going to use. That part, that's okay. Then we'll have this all mounted up. And then the turbo. You've seen the other one we had, the mock-up turbo. This is the one we're actually going to use. It's a PSR brand. And here's the part numbers and specs. It's a 64 AR T25 flange, internally gated with a 7.4 pound gate, dual ball bearing. This would be what they call a 2860. From all the forums I've read, all the internet research, this turbo with ethanol should be no problem to make. 250, 300 horse, low boost, reliable. Well, low boost. These motors don't make a lot of power. It's going to take about 10 pounds of boost, but it seems like they can live there with a proper tune. We're going to have amp EFI, ECU in here, and we're going to have a great tuner. Shouldn't be a problem. Let's show you how we set the turbo up. For those of you who don't know, the turbo, it consists of the compressor housing, the turbine housing or exhaust housing, and the center cartridge. And all three of these are held together with these bolts right here, and these can be clocked or rotated on themselves. So right now I took and I spun the compressor housing around to configuration I want, because I intend to weld this cast 90 on it, and as you can see, it'll just be almost sort of a straight shot right to there, but probably not. Anyway, with that turned, that'll get us the correct orientation of the compressor housing. Obviously the exhaust housing kind of is what it is. The cartridge right now is technically turned, I don't know, maybe 45 degrees from where it should be. This is the oil feed, which should be on the very top. This one and this one right here, these two gold fittings, these are the water cooling aspect of the turbo. Those can go horizontally, so I'm just going to turn the center cartridge, but not today, not right now. And on the back side, this is what they call a 5-bolt flange on the turbo, and this is a 5-bolt to V-band adapter. Now, like everything else, it isn't going to work out as well as I hoped it would. It's going to take some cutting, some grinding, some creativity, some fabrication on the fly. This is made, obviously, to have a V-band and our V-band clamp and everything. But as you can see, there's not enough room to the firewall. With this, even with that all the way up, I've already set I can't do it with one hand, but I've already set the other side of the V-band up here, and you can see, even with these super tight radius pie cuts that our buddy Matt gave us, there's just not enough room. I mean, we're literally against the firewall right there. I believe the solution is going to be, I'm going to actually have to cut the V-band section of this off, weld the lobster claw looking 90, and then V-band it at the bottom. It's not ideal, but we got to do what we got to do. Work with what we got. The other option is we have another 5-bolt to V-band adapter, but it's just super Chinesium and doesn't look like it's going to work at all. It doesn't even look like I can get nuts on it. This is a nice piece from ATP Turbo, and nothing against them. It's just not going to work in this situation. But that is cast stainless. Weld cast stainless to the stainless pie cuts. It should be fine. It'll just basically be a V-band adapter that has a 90 made into it, in theory. The tricky part here is which way to go with the exhaust. Originally, we're going to come out of the turbo and go back down to the wheel well, kind of point it over there like that, and it would come through the wheel well, hug the chassis, go back around the back edge of the lower control arm, past our new cab mount we made for clearance, down the side and out the well, down the frame and then out the side. I also got looking, and you can just barely see it. I have snuck a pipe right here, just for mock-up, just to see. I think I could actually go that way with it. Originally I didn't think I could, but looking at it now, I might go that side of the frame under, and eventually it's going to go like a little side exit right there. It's pretty tight quarters on the inside of the frame rail because I have to go like over cross members and around, and it's tight that way. But it's also going to be really tight trying to get it through this inner fender. Now it's not going to hit the tire. It's really kind of nowhere near it, especially if we stay super close to the frame, because it would hit the A-arm before it ever hit the exhaust, in theory. I don't know. We're going to play with it. Which one would you do? Would you go inside or outside the frame rail? Does it really even matter? The only thing that really kind of matters, I'll show you. If you remember on the F100, we came out through the bedside, has a nice little stainless plate. And that's what I want to do on this as well. The only kind of tricky part about this is if we bring the exhaust through here, it's going to have to go up and then out the side, which is fine, but you'll actually see the pipe right here. Whereas if we went on the other side of the frame rail, the pipe would come over the frame right here and then out the side, and you wouldn't see it in that little section. Now, am I the only person that would probably ever notice that? Yes. Does it matter as far as performance? Not really at all. Am I overthinking this? Like usual. I don't know. I'll hold some pipes up there. We'll look at it. We'll figure it out. Yeah. Chop, cut, rebuild. Something like that. These little guys cut off. And I will say, little trick, stuff the end tank here full of a microfiber to catch most of the shavings that would fall inside. Now when I go to pull this out, I'll take a vacuum cleaner, like vacuum this up and like run the vacuum cleaner around it as I'm pulling it out to hopefully stop about, I don't know, 90% of the shavings. Obviously it'll get blown out really well, probably rinsed out with water because I'm a little bit paranoid about it, but this helps keep most of the debris out. And you can see the difference, you know, from having this on there to putting this up, how much tighter that radius will be. And it actually, we can see it on camera, but it actually just slightly, it doesn't fully slip over, because actually I tried it. I tried cutting just the ridged part of this off to see if I could slip it over. It's too close. It's within a few thou and just won't work. But when we cut it back like that, it'll slightly cap over like that. Give us a nice groove to weld into. Those should be good to go. As far as mounting it, came up with super simple, some little tabs for the top, and this is basically going to control the in and out distance, and then made just some real simple little angle brackets for the bottom. You probably could have got away with just bending up the metal. This is 1/8 or 11 gauge, but decided to gusset the corners because it's going to hold the majority of the weight. Those pair of those, good to go. Nutserts in the core support here, and the top for the top ones, bottom for the bottom one. Now slide it in place. For the holes that it's going to go through in the side, if you're wondering why I made the hole so freaking big, it was because it had like a series of holes in it already, and it would look really weird if I cut out just the area for the pipe to come through. It would be clipping, it would be like on the very edge of one and be halfway through two of the other holes. So instead of doing that, I just cut one big hole that kind of connected all the dots. It looks good, and they're actually symmetrical side to side. They look fine. Here's what it looks like mounted up. You can see our little brackets there and there. And I will note, when I measured all this up, I had these paint sticks slid right under the intercooler right there, so that when I built everything, all the brackets had whatever that is, 3/32 gap built into it, so it's not actually resting on anything. See that? Yeah, all works out pretty good. That guy will go right through there. Same thing on this side. Yeah, there we go. Our decision now is, do we do Emblem up, emblem down. Happy with it. Another hot Saturday here at the shop. And what better to do on a 96-degree day? Let's do some welding, because that's kind of all we've been doing lately. Today, got my buddy Matt in the shop here with me, give me some lessons on aluminum fab. So we have intercooler to do, intercooler piping, radiator. Yeah, I think that's all the aluminum stuff we have to do. We're going to start with the radiator, show you what we came up with, and just like everything else in this truck, it's not going to bolt on. So we're going to make it work. Here we go. This is a Northern brand universal radiator, and the reason I call it universal, it is literally universal. There's no outlets, there's no neck, there's only a drain, and that's it. It comes with some outlets, comes with the little neck adapter, the drain thing, all this stuff. Fully customizable, so you can pick exactly where you want this. You can run it this way, you can run it this way, whatever your heart desires. It's really cool. As far as mounting, just took some aluminum flat stock, cut it 1.5 by 1.5, made us some marks here with the P to the P. So we'll mount it like that. But these are going to be the wrong size. Instead of having a hose that's going to be a hybrid, let's say from like this 1.75 inches down to the 1.5 inches it needs to be, instead of having like a stepped hose, which could potentially be a problem if in the future, let's say the hose rubs through, ruptures, whatever, it'd be kind of hard to find that particular thing. Came up with, went to Summit, and I found these basically unions. This is the correct size for the lower, this is the correct size for the upper. It's already bead rolled on both sides. We'll just cut that down to what we need. So just imagine that cut down in half, boop, put right there. That way we can have the same size hose on the radiator side and on the engine side. As for the neck, it's going to put it right up here at the top, maybe a little bit of angle, something like that. And for the bottom, I'm going to build like a little cradle. I'll get some more flat stock and build this little cradle, rubber isolate the bottom right here. These will go like we talked about on the side. Have a hole drill through that, a little rubber isolator to the truck. About as easy of a solution as I could come up with. I'm sure there's better ways, but this is my way. I've used this exact radiator on 2 other projects, same dimensions and everything, and it works out awesome. I'll tell you what, we'll put the part number in the description. I'll give you a little rough estimate of size. This one's going to be right at 20 inches total width, and looks like, simmer down. The total with the little flange at the top looks like we're going to be about 16 5/8. If you were to hack those off, which you totally could, you could be about 16 inches or so. It's the most radiator that we can fit in the truck, so that's what we're going to run. I could probably bob the end of the frame horns off and run something really big, but I think this this radiator in relation with a really big, nice fan, and the fact that we're probably going to be running ethanol is going to help it run cooler as well, should be plenty. I mean, this is already about the same size as a Miata radiator and twice as thick. I think we're going to be totally fine. Let's get this welded up. For the filler neck, bung, flange, whatever you want to call this, we decided to go right here on the corner. So it'll live just kind of, something like that. I put it on the edge of our belt sander and kind of coped the end of it. So it'll sit down in there a little flatter, a little less filling that we'll have to do. That, we'll get our pilot hole. We're going to go with a 7/8 inch rotor broach. just like that. As far as chips in the radiator, yes, it's a concern, but not for right now. Once we get all the holes cut, everything drilled, we'll flush it out really, really well. I'm not going to worry about that right this minute. We cut down the little adapter pieces here. And oddly enough, just happened the way it worked out. On this application, the upper hose is the larger than the lower hose. Typically, it's the other way around. I'm not going to go against what Mazda designed. We're just keep on keeping on. Find a nice place for it. Mark it out. Actually, it needs to be a touch over this way. Here we go. That'll look a little better. That. And we've already marked the lower. Move it over to the bench. Give him a ride on the rotor broach. Whoop. Probably remember us using these rotor broaches in other videos. It's a very precise hole cutting thing. If you have the extra dough, it's totally worth it. They're easy to change. As you can see, you just take one off, put the next one on. And just like that. Just kind of snug it up because obviously it tightens itself when you drill. Like that. So once all that gets cleaned up, weld that guy on right there. Custom radiator. Easy as that. If you don't feel comfortable welding this, which most people won't, and that's fine. Know when to admit your limitations. I am not a great aluminum welder. Luckily, my buddy Matt is. So when it comes to crucial stuff like this radiator, I'm gonna let him do this part. You could probably go to any hot rod shop. Most fab shops that can do aluminum can do this. Even a really good radiator shop like our buddy's Sims Radiator in Lawrenceville, they can weld this stuff up for you. So don't be afraid to get the stuff, get it all marked up, use your Sharpie, make your reference points, drill it out, and you can take it to them and get them to sew it up for you. That way you can have a custom radiator and you don't have to have all the associated tools like bandsaws, belt sanders, welders, stuff like that.
Easy as that.
Easy as that. Another handy little tool. Simple little deburr guy here. You can pick these up real inexpensive. Makes a much cleaner job. Run that around those. And you can use this and you can run it around the outside edge or the inside edge. Just depends on how you hold it. You might not think this is a super important step, but just imagine if you don't do this and somehow one of these little chips breaks loose, goes up into the cooling system and smokes your water pump, or gets hung somewhere in the motor. Yeah. Just take a little extra time, make a nicer product. For intercooler piping, went to our favorite parts retailer, eBay, and found this universal, they call it an air intake kit, also intercooler kit. Basically, it comes with, you pick your size, so this is all gonna be 2.5. It comes with 2 straight sections. It comes with 2 U-bends, two 45s and two 90s. We've already worked ahead here, and these are just kind of the remnants of what we had left over. It also comes with some straight silicone. I think it's 6 straight silicone couplers, two 90s, and a bunch of clamps. Pretty good kit for the money. We'll leave maybe like the part number, eBay listing or something in the description. I think this was all in less than $90, I think. We'll check. It's a good place to start. Yes, there's better aluminum out there, but for what we're doing, this is all we need. In an effort to save space, what we decided to go with, we cut the end of, Matt, give credit where credit's due, Matt cut the end of the compressor housing off and welded on this 90-degree vibrant cast elbow here. That's going to help us with our space, and it's going to reduce failure points. If you think about it, every coupler is a potential failure point. Less couplers, the better. Speaking of couplers, we got this little guy here from Boost Products, little Summit Racing special, and that's going to go from 2 to 2.5. Now, they do make a 2 to 2.5 inch step pipe, but instead of having a bunch of welding and we would need a coupler anyway, just use this reducer coupler, and it makes the most sense to me. So that'll go on there. And then as for our pipe, this one was pretty straightforward. Just a 45, a 45. Missed my mark here a little bit, so we'll weld this little section on there. That'll be just fine. And I'll kind of show you how it'll all look put together. It'll live right in that neighborhood, right there. Turbo's a little loose, but you get the idea. First pipe, pretty simple. One thing we still have to add is this guy. This is our blow-off valve flange, and a quick rundown for people that don't know. Blow-off valves help alleviate the charge air pressure in the intercooler system. So you think about it, when you're on the throttle, turbo spinning wide open, building all that boost. When you let off the throttle, the engine's not accepting it anymore, and now you have the whole intercooler system that's full of compressed air, doesn't have anywhere to go. Some people won't put these on here. What this does, well, this is just the flange for it, but the blow-off valve, when you come off the throttle, it'll open the system and purge all excess air. And it really just saves your turbo life. Without it, all that excess air gets forced backwards past the turbine blades, and it does make a pretty cool sound if we're being honest, but it's terrible for the turbo. It's one of the great arguments whether or not you have to have one of these. I put one on everything that's turbo, and my reasoning is every OEM vehicle has some kind of blow-off valve or recirculation valve, so I think they're probably onto something. They're a heck of a lot smarter than we are. That's going to end up landing probably in this ballpark right here, because what I'm thinking here with the intake pipe is we're just going to do a simple 90, and the air filter will land right here. I think that'll work out nice for us. We're getting all this stuff tacked up today and sending it home with Matt. Our machine can weld aluminum. Once again, he's much better at it than I am, and I don't want to keep him here all night working on my junk. Just giving it to him, letting him tinker with it when he has time. So in this video, we'll have it all tacked up. Next video, we'll go back over after it's all welded and show you how it's all fits together, as well as there's a couple pieces, because to be honest with you, I forgot to order the intake pipe and the filter and probably some other stuff. Now for the other side of the intercooler, let's check that out. Forgot to mention on the other side, another thing we tacked up, the cast elbows onto the intercooler core. Got those. Once again, we're able to shorten that up. One less failure point, one less coupler. We decided to go with a 90-degree coupler off the throttle body. And this is just a 90-degree pipe, nothing crazy. And that will go right there. And that will go right there. You want to make sure that you have a little bit of a gap, because just imagine if that was all the way up against it and you had any kind of vibration and it created any kind of debris, you don't want that sucked directly into the motor. That would not make for a good time. All in all, worked out pretty dang well. But Got one more thing to do before we send all this stuff off. If you notice, there's nothing here on the end of the pipe to keep it from slipping off. Even at the lower boost pressures, like we're running 10, 11, 12 PSI, it's going to want to blow this straight off the coupler. Even with a really good T-bolt clamp, really nice silicone hoses. There's a couple different ways people like to retain the silicone. Some people will, like we did on the other side where I messed up a little bit, they'll actually weld on the section that has the bead rolled into it. Some people will weld a bead around it to keep it from slipping off. Luckily enough, our buddy Tracy let us borrow his bead rolling tool. I'll show you how that works. This little guy is a bead roller specifically for piping, intercooler, whatever you need. This one's from Trick Tools. Works out really well. It's the only one I've used, so I mean, it's the best one I've used. Real simple. Start out with your pipe, D-bird. Put it in there until it touches off, and then put just a little bit of lube on it, and you'll just start rolling it. The first pass I do basically nothing, and you want to make sure you keep it square up against the tool itself. Roll it through, and every pass you make, you just give it a little more tension. You kind of start to see it forming right there. You could probably crank on this thing a lot more, run it a lot faster, but I like to do it a little slower, kind of keep my eye on it. There we go. Yeah, see that nice little bead forming right there? I think that'll be good for us. There you go. That's what it looks like. And that's what a factory one looks like. Well, a factory that comes with these pipes. That's all it takes. Just a little bit to keep the coupler from blowing off. Do that on the other side as well as the other side of that. Be good to go. We stayed pretty late at the shop last night, and in all honesty, just kind of forgot to film an outro. But it worked out really well for you guys, because you get a little sneak peek on next week's episode. Here it is. Sunday, empty trailer. You know what that means. New project time. And this time, maybe I don't have to foot the bill. You'll see. Tune in next week. Thank you for sticking around this long. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time.